A good slingshot beats a firearm. And today what I'm going to try to do is beat a firearm with the slingshot. Now, I've done some slingshot videos in the past, and one of the biggest complaints is that I was not using a very good slingshot. So I got a slingshot that I would consider a good slingshot. Now, all of the experts on my videos that claim to be slingshot experts said that I needed a flat black band. So I got a flat black band slingshot, and I actually spent a lot of time in my backyard trying to get these to the right length for the right length of pull, and just doing a lot of shooting in my backyard to where I feel like this is the maximum pull length I'm going to get and get the maximum velocity. I was shooting some steel balls, and even at a 10-degree angle I was launching them like 100 yards, and with different lengths that I had this set up at, I was getting less, but this is the length that I got the most distance on with some steel balls I was using. I was using just basically these Powerline 53 grain 5/8 inch steel balls. So I'm going to use those balls for some target practice, some accuracy testing in this video today, just because they're easy to follow. I can see them with my eyes. Now with the pistol here, I'm going to use what I'm going to consider my weakest pistol and my weakest possible ammunition. So this is a Beretta Bobcat pistol. It's chambered in 22 long rifle, but I am going to shoot 22 short through it today. 22 short, it's got a rimmed base here, and a 22 is a heeled bullet, so there's no chamber catch in there, so it'll shoot a 22 short. It just will not cycle it, and they're not going to fit in the magazine appropriately. And to compare against the 22 short here, I did some preliminary testing, and I found that the best projectile for trying to penetrate in a ballistic test is going to be this 32 caliber, which is actually 31 diameter, I believe, and it's a lead ball, and it's 48 grains. So in my preliminary testing, this is what did the best. So I'm going to share with you the rest of the ballistic testing I'm going to do here. So I am going to go through the chronograph with both the slingshot and the 22. I got some water jugs here. I want to see what they'll do to a single water jug. I have a piece of sheetrock here. I figure if we can go through that, or at least put some good damage on that, that might be a pretty good, judgment of power. I have 3/4 inches of pine here. But our main test is going to be our ballistics jaw lock here. And it says 10% equivalent clear ballistics. So we're going to hit this with both the 22 and the slingshot. If we get any penetration at all with that slingshot, I'm going to say it's pretty good. And I also have my full-size steel silhouette. And what I want to do with this is I want to start out with my 25-yard marker and see kind of what I'm getting for accuracy, and if I can hit that silhouette. And then we'll go back from 50 yards. If I'm actually still hitting from 50 yards, I'm going to go back to 75 yards. So this should be a fun, interesting test. So let's get started with the test. All right, I'm about 3 yards from the chronograph. I'm going to start up with the 22 short here, see if I can get a read for velocity. So let's see what I get with this. 930 feet per second. That's actually really good for 22 short. 881. 862. So I'm going to leave it at that. These glasses are fogging up pretty bad. That's pretty decent velocity. Let's try the slingshot. All right, I got our 48 grain lead ball. Let's see what kind of velocity I get. .277 feet per second. That's awesome. That's almost 300. So this draw length really is right for me, for my size and all of that. So let's try again. 269. Nice. .249. I'm going to stop there because I hit the edge of my chronograph there, or the pole. But I'm going to take that as an average. Pretty decent. All right, now let's hit our ballistics gel block and just see how these two compare to each other. And I didn't mention it before, but these 22 shorts are CCI and they're 29 grain. So let's hit our ballistics gel block with our 22 and see what it does. All right, so pretty nice. Our damage path comes to about 10.5. Our bullets resting at about 9 3/4. So let's see how that slingshot compares. All right, I'm gonna try the slingshot. I'm still wearing hearing protection, obviously, and that's just because I don't want, if I got a ricochet, I want as much protection as possible. But 48 grain lead ball. Let's see what this does. It's stuck in the block. That's funny. And yeah, our damage path is right at about 1.25 inches. Let me try it again. That's something at least. And I'm not joking when I said in one of my first videos, you know, I shot slingshots in like 1987 and then I haven't shot since. Yeah, that's why I'm not good. So let's try again. And that time it bounced back right at me, but it didn't come back that fast. So let me try again. Yeah, see, it's not sticking in, so. But our damage path is pretty consistent. We're getting about 1 inch though. So that's something at least. Now let's hit our pine and our sheetrock and just see what kind of damage it does, you know, because this doesn't necessarily tell you everything. So let's try that. All right, our 22 short through that sheetrock piece there. See what it does to it. And really no problem getting through that. Let's try the slingshot. All right, we have our slingshot with that 48 grain ball. Let's see what this does. Wow, it went through it. No way. I didn't expect that to go through that. I thought for sure this thing would come right back. Let me hit it again. I thought that was gonna come back, hit me in the face or something. That's impressive. Another time here. Yeah, right through it. Nice. Actually, the damage that we got going on here with this slingshot here, you know, that is awesome. It's putting a lot of energy in something like that. So, boy, I don't know. Let me try a piece of pine. All right, with the pine, it's just kind of sitting up there, and I've came back from about 15 yards, 20 yards, something like that, because I don't want the ricochet with the slingshot. So let's see what the 22 will do. Here's our entrance and our exit. Went right through it without moving the board, so pretty impressive. Let's try the slingshot. All right, 48 grain lead ball slingshot. You gotta be kidding me. 15 to 20 yards and it stuck this in this board. I would not have expected that to happen. So we're pretty much getting almost through a 1/2 inch of pine, because this is 3/4 inch. And that was the old Army standard, so I think that could bust a skull. Let's try some water jugs. All right, I'm pretty close to 10 yards, maybe more like 8. 22. Let's see what it does to a gallon of water. Just punched a hole right through it. No issues at all with that. So there's not going to be any issues with this, I don't think. My main issue is hitting it. There we go, right through both sides like I suspected. So with their 22, it just kind of went in right here. And it did split out the back a little bit. So it looked like it's probably tumbling a little bit as it hit that. But this right here is just a straight path through. Yeah, we hit right here. And it just went through both sides pretty easily. Now let's shoot from 25 yards and we'll increase that distance as I go and see how these will do. All right, I'm at my 25 yard mark over there. Some 22 shorts. See how they do. This actually ejects it pretty easily. To be honest, I think it's ejecting it. Yeah, it's ejecting it. It's going out behind my head. Makes me wonder, can I put these in a magazine? They're too short for the magazine, but what would happen? I'm sure everybody's kind of wondering. 22 LR with 22 shorts. They don't fit. It'll probably jam up. I'm just real curious here. Yeah, it didn't work. In fact, it jammed it down underneath in a really strange way. So that definitely doesn't work. But if this magazine were to fit these, I think it would cycle these. This is relatively efficient. Not good for self-defense, but if that's all you had for, hunting or pest control, that would work with 22 short. So, pull out our slingshot here. And at 25 yards, I'm going to use the lead balls because I don't want the steel balls hitting that and possibly ricocheting at that distance. So, like I said, I'm not very good with this, so it's going to take a little bit of work here to try to figure out what I can do with this. But consistently, I feel like I shoot kind of low, so I aim below it. And I can see where that's hitting. All right, so I'm going to have to use some steel balls. These are 53 grain, not 48 grain, so essentially the same velocity we'd be seeing, but I need these to actually be able to see the trajectory to adjust for where I might be missing. So let's see what we get. Yeah, so those are shooting a little bit to the right for me. Oh yeah. That's interesting because it looks like it's going to drop below it, but it doesn't. It's got a really flat trajectory at 25 yards. That is fun. Oh yeah. So I'm going to go back from 50 yards and see how I can do. All right, so now I'm at my 50 yard mark, but I switched out to 22 long rifle just because it's easier to just let this thing cycle. So let's see what I can get two-handed. So I had a couple misses there. Interesting. So move on to the slingshot with the steel balls here. And this is going to get tricky for me. But I know they'll shoot that distance, no problem. Yeah, way, way over the top. So I just have to adjust for this. It's doable. I would not want to get hit with that. All right, now that I got some practice on, let's head on out to 75 yards and see how these things do. All right, 75 yards. This seems, I don't know, it's almost like it's less legitimate with a firearm because you're not going to be defending yourself from that distance, but more legitimate with a slingshot because get enough of these balls going, you could, you know, kind of keep people away. So, 22 long rifle again. My Beretta Bobcat here. 75 yards. So that's a long shot for this gun, but we'll see what happens. All right. Got a couple more rounds here. About a 50% hit rate. I'm aiming at the same spot too, so this kind of shows the limitation of this pistol. All right, not a bad way to finish that. Now, this is where it's going to get tricky here, because that is far, that slingshot. And I don't know if I can hit it even one time, but I'm going to try. So that hit really far to the right for me, and it hit a tree, and it hit a tree about 100 yards away. So it's got some distance. Ooh, I had the right windage. It just didn't drop down where I needed it to. Oh, it looks so good, but at this point it's getting kind of difficult to figure out, you know, where it's dropping down at. Yeah, this is hard for sure, because it's too far to really see. I got good vision, but it's still too hard to kind of see the angles and adjust. Perfect windage. See, now I'm getting the right elevation, but I'm getting the wrong windage. I need to get both. Way too low. So that gave me an idea of what kind of elevation I need, though. I aimed about, I don't know, 6 feet low, 8 feet low. Okay. I think it's more of an instinctual thing at this point. When I try to aim, I'm not even slightly close. If I just kind of pull it and look at the target, you know, that was really low, but it was the right windage. So I just need to focus on the target, but focus on it a couple feet high. Yeah, that felt right. Way too high. Getting the right windage, but I'm going way over the top. Now I try to compensate and I go way under the bottom. you had enough of these things going off, the whole group of people shooting these, this would be pretty formidable. Well, I got one left. Not quite. So that's what you get today. Slingshot versus Firearm. And every time I do this video, I think about that guy that told me that a good slingshot is as powerful, or I think he may have said more powerful than a 357 Magnum. Well, what we're looking at with this is sub 10 foot-pounds of energy. And a 357 Magnum, you know, you take the potential energy of that out of a rifle or something, you know, you're looking at probably 1,400 foot-pounds energy versus 10 foot-pounds energy. So, is it as powerful as a 357 Magnum? No. Is it as powerful as a 22 short? No. Now, if you spent like $500 and you built some ridiculous contraption, could you get up there to maybe 50 foot-pounds? Probably. But you'd still only be rivaling the energy of that 22. Plus, you'd be doing it with a bigger ball, so it's not going to penetrate as much. So, but I was very impressed at its sheetrock penetrating abilities, as well as sticking in a piece of pine. Sticking in a piece of pine really kind of changed my mind for this type of testing, because that is hard to do, actually, especially with over a 30 caliber lead ball. That's impressive. I wouldn't have expected that. So interesting test nonetheless. So that's what you get today. So as always, comment, share, and like, and thanks for watching.